College News, brought to you by the Murray State News.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the College News. I'm Gage Simpson. The FDA and CDC is pausing the administration of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the same vaccine that was given to faculty and staff at the CFSB Center in mid-March. The CDC is investigating unusual blood clots that occurred 6 to 13 days after receiving the J&J vaccine. 6 women between the ages of 18 and 48 developed the clots. The CDC says one of those women died. Governor Andy Beshear says Kentucky will agree to the pause of the vaccine, which the CDC says should only be for a few days or a week at the most. There has been 6.8 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine given in the U.S. Beshear says the pause is to determine if there are more than 6 cases of the clots, as well as to educate medical providers on the treatment of these clots. Beshear says the news, while not positive, isn't crippling to Kentucky's vaccination plans.
It has mainly been used in Kentucky with independent pharmacies or in our corrections institutions to reach difficult-to-reach populations and some other areas across the state in our regular programs. To my knowledge, we have not seen any side effects like this clotting in Kentucky. Kentucky right now has lots of Pfizer and Moderna vaccine.
If you had the Johnson & Johnson shot less than 3 weeks ago, Dr. Stack says there are a few symptoms you need to watch out for.
People who have received the J&J vaccine who develop a severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath within 3 weeks after vaccination with J&J should contact their healthcare provider. It's important to note that this will continue to evolve, but all the individuals who have been identified so far have been identified within 2 weeks of receiving the J&J vaccine. And if you are more than 4 weeks out, it is incredibly unlikely you'll have this problem.
Pick up tomorrow's Murray State News to read more about how those who received the J&J vaccine at the CFSB Center feel about the latest news. Murray State saw 3 new cases of COVID-19, 2 faculty members and 1 student in the last week. Governor Andy Beshear announced that the state will reopen once vaccinations reach a certain level. Beshear says once 2.5 million Kentuckians get fully vaccinated, a goal he says can be done in as little as 3 weeks, most of the state can reopen for business. To help reopen the state, Beshear has expanded who can get vaccinations.
Get vaccinated as quickly as possible. This is how we get back to normal. That's why we've opened eligibility to all adults and even 16 and 17-year-olds who can get the Pfizer vaccine, including at this Cardinal Stadium site.
Venues under 1,000 patrons can fully reopen with no capacity restrictions, with the mask mandate being the only thing unchanged when the 2.5 million goal is made. Things like restaurants, bars, and movie theaters are just a few of the businesses on the list. The Pre-Vet Club plans to build a recycled bench in honor of the MSU student Sarah Townsend. The bench will be made out of bottle caps. The club's goal is 250 pounds of recycled caps. They are also accepting plastic lids, medicine bottle caps, deodorant caps, and more. Students around campus have been donating. Jayla Motley, a resident of Clark and a former resident advisee of Townsend, says she will be donating to the cause.
So I am saving up all the bottle caps that I can, and I will be donating to her memorial for her bench.
The bench will be located at the A. Carmen Pavilion. A drop-off location will be set up at the EES office 334 in the Blackburn Science Building. You can drop your bottle caps off every first Saturday of every month. SGA and CAB are bringing a bunch of events to end the semester this April at the Curris Center. Events range from bingo to live music, with most of the events being in person. Events run from today at 7 p.m. to the 28th. This week will see the return of a beloved Murray State tradition, Sigma Alpha Iota's all-campus sing. Due to the pandemic, the 62nd edition of the contest won't take place on the steps of Lovett. To stop people from gathering, the event has been moved to the Performing Arts Hall in the Old Fine Arts Building. Here, a solo, duet, and trio will be performing for a live stream instead of a live audience. ACS Chair Emily Allen said, "While it's sad to see the tradition change, it's the right thing to do."
We knew this year it wouldn't be really possible to do that because we wouldn't be able to keep people from coming to watch, and we want to do all we can to stop the spread of COVID. So we knew we'd have to have it in an area that we can block it off and just have designated locations for everyone.
The event is today at 4 p.m. You can watch it at www.murraystate.edu/streaming. The College of Education and Human Services will acknowledge a COVID hero. The college has decided to honor an individual who has stepped up and made a change in their community. For the first time ever, nominations won't be limited to MSU alumni. Nominations for this award are still being sought. The deadline for the nomination is April 15th. Sign-ups have begun for this year's senior breakfast. Admissions is free, but due to capacity restrictions, seniors are asked to RSVP online. The deadline to register is April 16th, and the breakfast will be on April 27th in the CFSB Center. Those who can't attend will be able to watch at www.murraystate.edu/streaming. We have a special edition of the Racer Rundown this week, as the Racer football team looks to take its first OVC championship in nearly 20 years. For more on that, here's Joey Reynolds.
No football games took place this week. Not at all. No OVC championship games at all or anything. Okay, I guess we'll actually do this. Racer football hosted the Jacksonville State Gamecocks Sunday in what was a de facto OVC championship game. The Gamecocks took the lead early in the first quarter with 2 rushing touchdowns from JSU quarterback Zion Webb. He would have over 70 rushing yards by the end of the game. Rushing was the big problem for the Racers. The Gamecocks gained over 205 yards from rushing compared to only 26 for the Racers. Quarterback Preston Rice was sacked 3 times during the game. Before this, the Racers had only 3 sacks for the entire season. This, along with the Gamecocks dominating the time of possession battle, will help them extend their lead 28-7. The Racers would get in the end zone with 8 minutes left in the game and would start another drive with 1.5 minutes left. But a late game interception would seal the deal for the Racers. They would end their season with a 5-2 record, and the Jacksonville State Gamecocks are the OVC champions. The Racers still have a chance to make the FCS championship with an at-large bid. The selection show will be Sunday on ESPNU. It wasn't all bad news for the Racers this week. Baseball, coming off 2 losses in the first 2 games of the series, were able to get a win on Sunday, beating SEMO 11-6. Women's golf took home their first title at a home event since 2017, winning the Jan Weaver Invitational against a strong field of 12 teams. Softball looked to get another win after a walk-off home run Friday, but they would fall to Tennessee Tech 3-1. And women's tennis was handed their second OVC loss on Sunday against Eastern Illinois. This week, Murray State will be hosting the OVC Women's Soccer Championship. Round 1 will take place on Thursday with the number 1 seed Racers taking on number 4 seed Southeast Missouri at 11. Number 2 SIU Edwardsville will take on number 3 UT Martin at 2. The winner of those games will play Sunday for the 2021 OVC Championship. You can see all of those games on ESPN+. More championship action happening this week. Women's golf will be heading to the Ohio Valley Conference Championship at Owens Cross Roads, Alabama, looking to win their 4th straight OVC championship. That's happening Sunday through Tuesday. Also happening, women's tennis will close off their regular season Friday, traveling to Austin Peay in the latest edition of the Battle of the Border. Baseball will be traveling to Belmont for a 3-game series, and softball will be hosting the Bruins at Racer Field. That's it for this championship edition of the Racer Rundown. As always, you can get more information and scores at thenews.org.
That's all for this week's edition of the College News. Be sure to pick up a copy of tomorrow's Murray State News. We'll see you next week.